everyone. So, our topic for today's chapter is chapter number 4, Economic Development. We are going to study India's economic policy in this chapter, right? Now, we have seen various policy. The last one which we saw was education policy. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn about economic policy. That includes a study of mixed economy, 5 years plan and their successes and failures, nationalization of banks, 20-point program, mill workers strike, and especially the new economic policy of 1991. Okay, so all of these points are something which we are going to cover in today's session. Now, the very first is mixed economy. What do you mean by mixed economy? Brainstorming about the kind of economy we would adapt after independence started much before India got independence. Our Prime Minister Pandit Nehru adopted the middle path rather than taking recourse to any extremes. Okay, so we didn't got independence yet. Okay, we were about to get the independence, but before that only people started brainstorming. Like brainstorming is to discuss or to form a meeting and to discuss. हम लोग brainstorming sessions बोलते हैं ना, where you are being forced to think upon something. In the same way they started thinking that what would be our economic plan once we get independence. Okay, so after independence का पूरा plan वो लोग पहले ही independence के पहले से प्लान कर रहे थे. ओके, एंड हु वाज विद देम पर आवर प्राइम मिनिस्टर पंडित नेहरू. एट दैट टाइम द प्राइम मिनिस्टर वाज पंडित नेहरू जी, एंड ही वाज देयर विद देम, एंड ही selected the part of middle part. Okay, not the capitalism one or socialism one. Now why, we will see further. Okay, our Prime Minister Pandit Nehru adopted the middle path rather than taking recourse to any extremes. Some countries had adopted capitalism while some has adopted socialism. Each type of economy had its own advantage. Okay, तो कोई कंट्री ने कैपिटलिज्म वाला चूज़ किया था, कोई ने सोशलिज्म वाला चूज़ किया था, बट वी एंड आवर प्राइम मिनिस्टर पंडित नेहरू वी डिसाइडेड टू गो ऑन मिडल पाथ. नाउ व्हाट इज मिडल पाथ, व्हाट इज कैपिटलिज्म, what is socialism, we will see over here. In a capitalist system, the means of productions are privately owned. In a socialist economy, the means of production are owned by the state in the name of society. And a mixed economy works both in the private and in the public sector. In order to achieve economic development of modern India, we gave preference to model of mixed economy. You can see three parts in this kind of economy. Okay, so one is capitalism. As the name suggests, capital is capital, money. Okay, तो इनका जो प्रोडक्शन होता है ना, वो पर पर्सन होता है. लाइक प्राइवेट कंपनीज होती है या प्राइवेटली ओन वर्कर, प्राइवेटली ओन person जो होता है ना, the one who owns it privately, that is called as capitalism. Wherein in socialism, as the word suggests, social मतलब क्या, people, group of people. So that is socialist is when the means of production is owned by the state of government. Okay, ये जो state होता है ना, वो own करता है means of production on the name of society के नाम पे जो state government, अरे जो state होते हैं ना, वो own करते हैं production को, and that is known as socialist economy. Fine. And a mixed economy works both. Okay, it works in the private case also and in the public case also. Now, in order to achieve more of economic development of India, we decided to go with मिक्स इकोनॉमी. ओके, हम लोग ने ना ही प्राइवेट यूज़ किया था, ना ही सोशलिस्ट, ना ही नेशनलिस्ट. वी डिसाइडेड टू गो विथ मिक्स्ड इकोनॉमी. Now there are three parts in this kind of economy. Let us see which one are they. The first one is public sector. The industries in this sector are completely under the control and management of the government. Okay, for example, production of defense equipment. तो public sector मतलब क्या है, जो everyone, the one which everyone can be used, तो जो सब यूज़ कर सकते हैं, वो नॉर्मली किसके अंडर आता है, गवर्नमेंट के अंदर, राइट. प्राइवेट होता है तो इट कैन नॉट कम अंडर गवर्नमेंट, राइट. स्टूडेंट्स, अगर आपका प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी है, एक एग्जांपल ले लो, इफ़ यू ओन अ प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी देन इट इज़ ओन बाय यू, ओके, नॉट द गवर्नमेंट. एंड इफ इट इज़ अ पब्लिक प्रॉपर्टी लाइक गार्डन्स हो गए या थिएटर्स हो गए, ऑल ऑफ दीज आर पब्लिक प्रॉपर्टीज, राइट. सो एवरी वन कैन गो देयर, बट इफ you have a particular property which is owned by you, then you have right on it, okay. तो public sector क्या होता है, which is complete under the rule of government, okay. The government owns it. Now coming towards private sector, the industries in these sectors are owned by private industrialists, okay. जो private industrialist होते हैं, the private person has its own rule on that particular place. Of course, the government supervises and control them too. For example, consumers good, okay, but government एक look, या तो आपको कुछ एक अंडर रहता ही है. For example, if I own a private company, okay, then too I have to pay particular taxes to government, right. If you own a private villa or anything kind of thing, okay, तो उसमें भी आपको particular taxes government को pay करना पड़ता है. So that is how government supervises thing which is private, okay. So this is called as private sector. Example, consumers good, okay, कि जो consumers good होते हैं, हाँ, that is also being observed by government. And the third one is joint sector. In this sector, some industries are owned by private industrialists while some are run under government management. Case में combination of both. Some is owned by government, some is owned by private industrialists. For mixed economy to run smoothly, there is a need for coordination between the private sector and the public sector, right. अभी प्राइवेट में कैसा होता है, जो पर्सनल खुद का है, दे लुक इनटू द केसेस, द पब्लिक इज गवर्नमेंट लुक इनटू द केसेस. सो इतना there is not much problem while running private and personal industries, but while talking about mixed industries there is a bit of problem. Why? Because the coordination between the two should be proper, right, because इसमें दोनों involved है, public and private. So if the coordination between them is okay, then only it can work smoothly. This system aims at maximization of production and popular participation on large scale. एक ही एम होता है कि जो प्रोडक्शन है वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हो and people should participate in this large scale. If they participate then only उनका production बढ़ेगा, right. An effort has been made in this system to bring together the good aspects of both the capitalist and the socialist system. So इसमें they make sure that both the good points of capitalist and socialist are involved, right. अगर सिर्फ capitalist का involved हो गया तो socialist बोलेंगे ना, why should we help you, as we have seen mixed is a combination of both. तो अगर दोनों का जिसमें profit है and दोनों के points जहाँ पे include हो रहे हैं वैसे ही सारे points they will include, so that both of them can work smoothly. And if both of them work smoothly, then mixed economy or mixed sector will work smoothly. A mixed economy cannot ignore the profit motive, entrepreneurship, discipline, time-bound planning, etc. Right? So a mixed sector has to work on all of these things. Like they cannot ignore the profit motive कि उनको भी तो at last profit होना चाहिए. जो गवर्नमेंट को मिला, जो पब्लिक को मिला, ठीक है, उसके अलावा उनको क्या मिल रहा है. एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इफ़ दे हैव दैट बिजनेस क्वालिटी के एक बिजनेस चला सकते हैं, वैसा क्वालिटी है क्या, वैसा डिसिप्लिन तो इज़ अ मस्ट, राइट. इफ़ यू आर वर्किंग, इफ़ यू आर प्लानिंग टू have your business, then you need to have a disciplined life, okay. So all of these things come under mixed economy. A mixed economy also naturally tends to give priority to national interest. Long-term development is stressed upon with priority, right? अभी mixed में कैसे है involvement of both private and sector, but they make sure कि welfare of people यहाँ पे हो रहा है. If people are happy, then only people would participate in large scale, and if they participate in large scale, then only there would be उनका प्रोडक्शन बढ़ेगा, राइट? सो इन दैट्स वाई दे मेक श्योर दैट दे दे गिव प्रायोरिटी टू समथिंग विच इज़ for the interest of people, okay? And they think about cases which will help them for long term development. ऐसा नहीं कि अभी 6 महीने के लिए प्रॉफिटेबल है, बट दैट शुड बी हेल्पफुल टू देम फॉर ईयर्स एंड ईयर्स. द इंडस्ट्रीज लाइक डिफेंस, साइंटिफिक research, education, roads, railway, waterways, seaport and airport development require huge capital investment, but the return in these areas are delayed, okay? Like all of these sectors, railways हो गया, education हो गया, waterways, all of them, they need a large of capital is money, they need a lot of money, but इनका जो returns होता है ना, जो वापस आने का जो पैसा होता है, that is delayed, okay? Not many private industrialists are keen to invest in this area. बराबर है ना? अगर आप उनमें इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो और जो आपका रिटर्न है वो डीले हो रहा है, वो आपको लेट पहुंच रहा है, तो यू वॉन्ट बी इन्वेस्टिंग इन टू सर्टन थिंग्स, राइट? इफ़ इट इज़ नॉट प्रॉफिटेबल टू यू और इफ़ यू आर नॉट गेटिंग योर मनी बैक ऑन टाइम. सो दैट इज़ वाई जो ये होता है ना, जो इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, जो प्राइवेट ये जो प्राइवेट पर्सन्स होते हैं जो उसमें इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, they don't tend to invest in all of these fields because the returns are late. In such a situation, the government has to take the initiative. अब प्राइवेट हेल्प नहीं कर रहा है तो बचा कौन? पब्लिक सेक्टर. और पब्लिक का किसके अंडर होता है? गवर्नमेंट. सो द गवर्नमेंट हैज़ टू मेक श्योर दैट दे आर हेल्पिंग in all of these sectors. Thus, India adopted the mixed economic model and 5-year plan and started off in its path of development, right? See, as a student, if you're planning something, I don't know even you guys plan your things or not, but when अगर आप जब कॉलेज में जाओगे तो you would be, you would have burden of work under you, so you make a plan, right? So, see, now it works according to different people. Now for me, I make like a monthly plan. So मुझे एक महीने में क्या क्या करना है, I make a plan of it, and then I have a weekly plan, okay? कि okay, month का तो हो गया, अभी वो month में से I have to prioritize, okay? Priority देना है मुझे कि which one is important, and that I would give it in a particular week, and then you do a weekly plan. Then you, if someone is not sure कि 7 दिन में मेरा ये होगा या नहीं, so one does a daily plan कि एक दिन में मैं आज इतना तो कर ही लूँगी वैसा. So that is called planning. If you do things according to your planning, it definitely works, and that is how government or all of these sectors work. They do planning, okay? But इनका planning बड़ा होता है because they have to make sure कि entire people का welfare हो रहा है, that entire people is getting profitable, so they make 5-year plans, okay? And then these Indian people started making plan, they adopted mixed economy, and they were on the field of development. The industry policy of 1973 increased the speed of development. के जो एक इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी था 1973 का, क्या था वो हम लोग आगे देखेंगे. That led to the development of India. Priority was given in this policy to control the influence of heavy industries, industrial families and foreign industries, and remove the imbalance in regional development. The government focused on the development of small scale industries and cottage industries. Government also started paying more attention to the कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर. नाउ इफ़ यू वांट डेवलपमेंट, और उस टाइम पे तो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट थी, सो यू नीड टू मेक श्योर कि हमारे पास जो मटेरियल है उसी में हम लोग कैसे प्रॉफिट लाए, राइट. तो दे स्टार्टेड फोकसिंग मोर ऑन इंडस्ट्रीज़ ऑफ इंडिया, जो हैंडलूम इंडस्ट्री है या कॉटेज इंडस्ट्रीज़ है या स्मॉल स्केल जो भी इंडस्ट्री है, दे स्टार्टेड फोकसिंग ऑन देम, सो दैट उनको एक प्लस पॉइंट के एक एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी मिल जाता है. Plus, if they are getting developed and people are using them, so that is how it can be profitable to them, right. So that is how it works. They started focusing more on things कि जो regional development है, जो गाँव का area है, वो हमेशा it remains backwards only, because जो सारे development होते हैं वो urban areas में होते हैं. So they were focusing that there are they are making changes in rural area, so that rural area gets developed. Okay, then foreign industries को ज़्यादा support नहीं करना, जो हमारे local industries है उन पे focus करना. They were working on all of these points so that development of India can take place. Okay, अब अभी हम लोग ने देखा that they made 5-year plan. Now what is it, how it works, we will see. 5-year plan. The colonial power had exploited India economically. The countries faced severe problems like poverty, unemployment, population growth, low standards of living, etc. Right? कि जो colonial power था British का, that was entirely, we all were entirely disturbed through it. Why? Because economically हम लोग को बहुत affect किया था. कैसे अफेक्ट किया था, दैट वी वर अंडर देम, राइट. वी हैड टू पे टैक्सेस, द फार्मर्स हैड टू पे टैक्सेस, एंड एवरी पर्सन वाज इकोनॉमिकली एक्सप्लॉइटेड. व्हाट दे यूज्ड टू डू ब्रिटिशर्स, कि जो उनके एम्प्लॉयज़ है ना, दे यूज्ड टू पे देम मच, एंड इंडियन एम्प्लॉयज़ वर नॉट पेड दैट मच. दे वर गिवन लॉट ऑफ वर्क and less payment, so all of the people were economically exploited. Okay, so the country had many problems like poverty, because पैसे ही नहीं आ रहे थे हम लोग को. they didn't used to pay us that well, so poverty था, unemployment था, because वो लोग क्या करते थे, ब्रिटिशर्स के जो लोग थे उनको ही जॉब देते थे, एंड हमारे इंडियंस ऐसे ही रह जाते थे, तो उनको जॉब नहीं मिलता था, तो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट था. पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ था. ओके, कि पॉपुलेशन बढ़ता जा रहा है, बट उनको ये करने को, पैसे करने का या उनका देखभाल करने का, we didn't had any source to take care of the coming generation. And low standards of living. Okay, that living standards were also low. Why it was low? Because people were not having that particular amount of money, so they can't live the life they expected. Okay, next. Low productivity of agriculture and industries, and backwardness in the field of knowledge, science and technology. Planning was essential to solve all of these problems. Okay, low production of agriculture and industries, because farmers, they were continuously forced to pay taxes, so they didn't had any money. Agriculture हो नहीं रहा था अच्छे से, famines occur हो रहे थे, so this all led to, then there was not proper education facility, so they were not having proper knowledge about certain things. So that is why planning was very important, that once they plan all of these things, and then they could start working on all of these points. So planning plays a very important role. India established the Planning Commission in 1950 with Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as the chairperson. Okay, so they made a planning commission के जिसमें ये सारे points discussed हो गए. And who was the head? Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the chairperson, and it was established in 1950. It formulated India's 5-year plan. Okay, it included 5-year plan. Now what was included in this 5-year plan? Let us see. It included rural and agriculture development, के जो गाँव के एरियाज है उनका development plus agriculture development. Why agriculture? बिकॉज इंडिया इज़ एन एग्रीकल्चर कंट्री, राइट. हमारा ज़्यादा खाना हमारे एग्रीकल्चर, हमारे फार्मिंग के थ्रू ही आता है. सो वर्किंग ऑन आर एग्रीकल्चर पार्ट वॉज वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट. बैलेंस इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशंस. ओके, कि जो लोकल इंडस्ट्रीज़ है उनको भी काम दिया जाए, ना कि ओनली द इंडस्ट्रीज़ विच बिलोंग टू Britishers, or where the people were there of Britishers. Provisions for a minimal standard of living and economic development consisted with democratic ideals. It focused on people participation and individual development and the formulation and implementation of 5-year plan. Okay, so the main aim क्या था, that there should be development of people entirely, personally be and socially be. Now coming towards fundamental principle of प्लानिंग, कि ये सारी चीज़ों पे काम करना था, ये डिस्कस हो गया था ना. व्हाट वाज द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्लानिंग, वो हम लोग देखते हैं. अ जनरल प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्लानिंग is the proportionate distribute of resources of a country and the appropriate use of the human resources to fulfill the needs of the people, right? कि एक प्रॉपर प्लानिंग होना चाहिए जिसमें सारे पॉइंट्स इन्वॉल्व है, सो दैट अ प्रॉपर वेलफेयर ऑफ पीपल हैज़ बीन टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन. नाउ गोल्स ऑफ प्लान, व्हाट ऑल वर द गोल्स ऑफ प्लान? इंक्रीज इन नेशनल इनकम, राइट, कि हमारा आधातर पैसा ब्रिटिशर्स के पास ही जाता था, सो आर नेशनल इनकम शुड बी इंक्रीज्ड. Bring about rapid industrialization by focusing on the basic industries, कि जो basic industries है, जो हमारे इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज़ है जहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयज़ इंडियन है, उनके ऊपर ज़्यादा फोकस करना. Bring about an increase in agriculture production so that the country becomes self-sufficient in food grain production, as we have seen earlier. Use the human resource in the country optimally by making increasing employment opportunities available. ओके, कि जो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स है कंट्री में उसका यूज़ करे सो दैट पीपल दे गेट जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, राइट, कि जो ह्यूमन्स हैं उनको काम दिया जाए सो दैट दे कैन बी एम्प्लॉयड. रिमूव द इनइक्वालिटी इन अर्निंग एंड वेल्थ, एज आई सेड अर्लियर, कि जो इंडियन ये थे एम्प्लॉयज़ थे उनको कम पैसा दिया जाता था कंपेयर टू ब्रिटिश एम्प्लॉयज़. ओके, सो ऑल ऑफ दीज इनइक्वालिटीज शुड बी स्टॉप्ड. मेंटेन स्टेबल प्राइसेस ऑफ कमोडिटीज़, के जो नॉर्मल बेसिक कमोडिटीज़ है उनका प्राइस स्टेबल होना चाहिए. वॉट ब्रिटिशर्स यूज टू डू वॉज, जो नॉर्मल कमोडिटीज़ है लाइक सॉल्ट है, शुगर है, they used to increase the price of all of these normal commodities so that it became difficult for people to buy them. So these commodities they should have the normal prices so that it could be affordable to people. Bring the growth in population under control by family planning, कि जो population बढ़ रहा था तो even family planning करके there should be like a proper control in population. Improve the standard of living by eradicating poverty, कि जो poverty थी हमारे देश में in our country, that should be eradicated and people should not at least live a high-fi life but at least a simple normal life. Develop social services and make the economic self-sufficient, कि वो इकोनॉमी अपना एटलीस्ट उतना तो होना चाहिए, दैट शुड बी प्रॉफिटेबल फॉर आवर कंट्री. एंड डेवलप सोशल सर्विसेज, कि जो सोशल सर्विसेज है वो सारी भी डेवलप होनी चाहिए सो दैट इट शुड बी यूजफुल फॉर पीपल. Now, after all of these points keeping in mind, there was this first 5-year plan which was created. Okay, the 5-year plan that was from 1951 to 1956. The expenditure in this plan was primarily on agriculture, social development, irrigation and flood control, sources of energy, rural and small industries, heavy industries and minerals, transport and communication, education and health. Okay, so all of these points were taken into consideration. Agriculture हो गया, industries हो गया, minerals हो गया, transport, communication, all of these points were taken into consideration and changes were made so that there should be development in such fields. This plan consisted of measures to let the foundation of planned economic development, कि ये सारे प्लान में इनके ऊपर क्या क्या मेजर्स या क्या क्या चेंजेस लाने चाहिए so that it would be beneficial to our country, that was taken into mind. Now second 5 year plan, तो ये था फर्स्ट वाला 1955 से 56, एंड हम लोग ने देखे कौन कौन से फील्ड वर इन्वॉल्व इन देम. नाउ लेट अस सी द नेक्स्ट 5 year, which is 1956 to 61. This plan had ambitious goals of industrialization, iron and steel industries of Durgapur, Bhilai and Rourkela, chemical fertilizer plant at Sindri, rail engine factory at Chittaranjan, factory of railway bogies at Perambur, shipping building factory at Vishakhapatnam, and other heavy industries were set up in public sectors. Okay. Now पहले वाली फील्ड हम लोग ने देखा दैट कंटिन्यूसली वो वर्किंग ऑन ऑल ऑफ दी स्मॉल पॉइंट्स लाइक इंडस्ट्रीज, मिनरल, ट्रांसपोर्ट. बट द सेकेंड was स्पेसिफिकली इन इंडस्ट्रीज़. ओके, कि इंडस्ट्रीज़ कहाँ पे कौन से एरिया में कौन सी इंडस्ट्रीज़ ग्रो होनी चाहिए, उसके ऊपर ज़्यादा फोकस था. ह्यूज डैम्स लाइक Bhakranangal, Damodar, etc. were built to make water available for agriculture. It led to increase to national income. Okay, the dams were created so that agriculture के लिए पानी आए proper. Okay, and once water availability था, so that is how the expenditure increased. Sorry, not expenditure, the income of a particular country increased. Okay, so first was considering all of the points for the development. The second was more on industries and dams for water purpose for agriculture. Now let us see the third 5-year plan. This plan was aimed at bringing about a balance in industries and agriculture. The other goals of the plan include increase in national income, heavy industries, development in transport and mineral industry, alleviation of poverty, and to expand the opportunities for employment. Okay, now once industries and all were planned, they decided to increase the development of transport and communication, eradicate poverty from the country. Agriculture के लिए और क्या techniques use हो सकते हैं so that people can get jobs in it. All of these points were taken into consideration in the third 5-year plan. Okay, which was from 1961 to 1966. Next. After the third 5-year plan, 3 1-year plans were implemented. Okay, कि ये 5 years के जो plans हो गए थे, उसके बाद 1 year के 3 plans were being executed. 1 year का एक plan, 2 year का वैसा, first year फिर वापस first year फिर वापस first year, वैसे 1 year के 3 plans were executed. This was a period of intense famine. Okay, कि famine वाला period था, लोगों को खाने के लिए कुछ नहीं था. There was scarcity of food all around. Due to the invasion by China and war with Pakistan, the government had to focus on defense rather than development related tasks, right? That during this period we had fights with other countries, and in such cases development को छोड़ के government had to work on defense. कि हमारा जो हमारा protection वाला AV है, जो navy है, soldiers है, उनके ऊपर they were focusing more. Also, the famine required the government to undertake measures to tackle the effects of famine. All these issues stress the Indian economy greatly. कि जो प्लान किया था उसमें तो यूज़ हुआ नहीं, बट उस टाइम पे famines आ गए, तो उसके लिए जो गवर्नमेंट का पैसा था वो चला गया, प्लस ये सारे कंट्रीज़ के साथ जो हमारे डिबेट्स हुए. So the economy of India was greatly disturbed at that time because of all of these situations, and not much amount were being used for the development purpose. Fourth 5-year plan, okay, which was from अभी ये fourth 5-year plan हो गया, which was from 1969 to 1974. The intention behind settling the goal of this plan were that India should become self-reliant. Government should develop the basic industries, increase the speed of economic development, and pay attention to establish a socialist pattern of society. 14 major banks in the country were nationalized. Okay, so यहाँ पे मेन गवर्नमेंट का एम क्या था, that India should become a self-reliant country, that we should not be under anyone, but हमारा खुद का ये होना चाहिए. ओके, हमारा खुद के प्लान्स होने चाहिए. We should not be under anyone, plus we should not be dependent on anyone. Okay, we should have a, like, any means dependent on any means for any other countries. We should be self-sufficient and we should have everything among ourselves. And then major banks were being established. Okay, major banks were being opened. This plan did not succeed as expected. The economy had to bear the burden of the Bangladesh war. The expenditure over the refugees had to be borne as well. The Indian economy suffered due to the pay raise of government and railway servants and rise in the prices of petrol in the international markets. So all of the things were planned, but उसी टाइम पे there was war going on with Bangladesh. Okay, तो जो गवर्नमेंट के पैसे थे वो ज़्यादातर उसमें यूज़ हो गए. प्लस एट दैट पर्टिकुलर टाइम ओनली there were rise in government and railway servants. Okay, so उनको पे करना था गवर्नमेंट को, प्लस there were rise in पेट्रोल, सो वापस उसमें पैसा यूज़ हो गया था. Now the fifth 5-year plan. Now this was fifth 5-year plan, which was from 1974 to 1979. This plan was designed with the goal of making India economically self-sufficient by alleviating poverty. Okay, the main aim was to remove poverty and make it a stable country. The objective of the fifth-year plan was as follows: increase the nation income, make large-scale employment available, supply education, nutritious food and drinking water to make facilities and medical treatment available in rural areas, to supply electricity and means of communication, implement social welfare schemes on wide scale, bring about the development of agriculture, increase the basic industries, purchase food grains and other life sustainable goods by monopoly purchase and make them available to the poor at reasonable price through a public distribution system. Okay, now this was entirely work for our country. Okay, कि जो हमारे मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट है वो प्रॉपर रूरल एरियाज़ में दी जाए. Okay, so proper facilities should be given in rural area. How we can increase our nation income, हमारा जो nation का income है वो कैसे हम लोग increase कर सकते हैं. Then how we can provide food to the people living in rural areas so that their condition can be improved. Okay, and they can also be developed. Food grains and other life sustainable goods had to be taken monopoly purchase. कि वही कि जो food grains है and basic commodities है वो एटलीस्ट रूरल लोगों के तक पहुंचना चाहिए, so that they also live a stable life. Okay, and they don't live a life wherein they don't have any food or stuff like that. Okay, so if you notice one thing, there are similar points which they are working on our 5-year plans. ये प्लान किया होगा बट एट दैट पर्टिकुलर टाइम एग्जीक्यूट नहीं हुआ रहेगा या उतना इकोनॉमी नहीं रहा होगा. So that is why they are again including that point for the 5-year plans. During the fifth plan, it was not possible to achieve the goals of removal of poverty and increase in employment. As I said you, because of certain situations हो जाता है कि जो आपने प्लान किया है वो एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होता. In the 1977 general elections, the Congress party was defeated. The Janata Party came to power. Okay, कि 1977 कांग्रेस पार्टी was defeated and जो जनता पार्टी था वो उस टाइम पे फॉर्म में था. The new government ended the fifth plan towards the end of March 1978 and started the rolling plan from 1978 April, but it failed in 1980. General elections were held for Lok Sabha. The Congress party came to power. The Congress government closed the system of rolling plan and again started plan like before. पहले कांग्रेस प्लान था तो ये सारे प्लान्स वर्क हो रहे थे, बट आफ्टर कांग्रेस प्लान देयर केम बीजेपी, ओके, द कांग्रेस जनता पार्टी, एंड व्हेन दैट केम दे केम अप विथ रोलिंग प्लान. ओके, तो रोलिंग प्लान चल रहा था, बट अगेन देयर वाज इलेक्शंस फॉर लोक सभा एंड एट दैट टाइम कांग्रेस वाज स्ट्रॉन्ग इनफ. द कांग्रेस केम अगेन इनटू पिक्चर and once they won they again removed that rolling plan which was held by Janata Party, and they started their own plan again. Now we will see the sixth 5-year plan, which was from 1980 to 1955. This plan also stressed upon elevation of poverty and employment generation. This plan had the following objectives: significant increase the growth rate of economy, reduce the rate of poverty and unemployment, shape and implement a population policy to so that people adopted the small family and voluntary and thus keep the population under control. कि एक चीज़ अगर आप देखोगे तो they are trying to work on two or more than things like एक इकोनॉमी, हमारे इंडिया का इनकम बढ़ना चाहिए, and the poverty should be finished, okay, and they also made sure that there were certain changes so that the population remains under control. The following programs were implemented in the 5-year plan. Okay, so all of these programs were implemented. कौन से थे? IRDP, which is Integrated Rural Development Program. Then you have Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program. Then you have National Rural Employment Program and Salem Street Plant. Okay, so all of these were included in sixth 5-year plan. Now coming towards the seventh 5-year plan, this plan laid stress on food, employment and productivity. Okay, so this focused on food, employment, that people should get jobs, and productivity. The objective of the plan included development, modernization, self-reliance, social justice, improving the techniques of production to achieve a yearly increase of national income of 5% and increased food grain production. Okay, so now they were making sure कि हमारा इंडिया का प्रोडक्शन का प्राइस कैसे बढ़ाए. सो दे मेड श्योर कि हम लोग क्या करेंगे, हम लोग जो हमारा टेक्निक्स है प्रोडक्शन का वो इम्प्रूव करेंगे, सो दैट ऑलवेज देर इज़ अ increase in 5% so that it could be beneficial for India's government. The following programs were seen or started in this plan. Now what were they? We will see. Also included schemes like Jawahar Rojgar Yojana, then there were Indian Awards Yojana scheme of 10 lakh wells. The seventh plan proved the improvement from the point of view of employment generation. Okay, ये जो seventh plan बना था, that was actually a welfare, or actually you can say a hit for people who are focusing on employment problems. Eighth 5-year plan, which was from 92 to 1997. This plan gave a lot of scope to the private sector. The plan has the following features: to maintain the rate of growth in national income at 6.5%, to control the growth of population, to encourage the program of family planning, to remove illiteracy by explanation of primary education. Okay, so this 8-year plan, it was under the thing of maintaining the population of our country. Okay, so they were making certain schemes, opposed to certain policies which were beneficial for the बेसिक एजुकेशन के जो बेसिक एजुकेशन देते हैं ना कि इतना ही पॉपुलेशन होना चाहिए, इतना कंट्रोल में, एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. During the 8th plan, the importance of private sector grew. This plan is a reflection of liberalization and free market policy adopted in 1981. Ninth 5-year plan, I guess the last one. This plan focused on agriculture and rural development. The objective of this plan was to increase the rate of growth of economy, create healthy competition, and the infrastructure structure give a new direction to industrial policy for ensuring foreign investment. Okay, so this field, this 9-year 5 plan, this was working on continuous economic growth कि इकोनॉमिक अपने इंडिया का इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कैसा होना चाहिए. देन इट गिव अ डायरेक्शन टू इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी की जो इंडस्ट्रीज़ के पॉलिसी है उनमें कैसे काम करना है. ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स वर टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन. The following schemes were started during this plan. Okay, स्वर्ण जयंती, शाकाहारी रोजगार योजना, भाग्यश्री चाइल्ड वेलफेयर, देन राजेश्वरी महिला कल्याण योजना, स्वराज जयंती, ग्राम स्वरोजगार योजना, जवाहर ग्राम समृद्धि योजना, अंत्योदय अन्ना योजना, प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सदक योजना. So all of these were the schemes which were being established for the benefit or for the welfare of people. In this place, the programs of communication system and service sector were achieved as per the expectation. There was a growth in the field of construction and communication. Okay, and they made sure कि communication system and service sector ये दो चीज़ों में higher expectations या higher changes आ सके. Okay, they were continuously working for the beneficial या benefit आए कौन से country में construction and communication वाले field में. Now let us see the next one. Nationalization of banks. During the tenure of Prime Minister Pandit Nehru and Lal Bahadur Shastri, banking was a monopoly of the private sector. The banking came under private sector. These banks represented different industrial groups. The directors of these banks were working towards developing industrial sector and increase its profit. In order to stop this, the government nationalized the Imperial Bank in 1955 and it got conveyed into State Bank of India. Okay, now ये सारे जो बैंक्स थी ना, they represented different industrial groups. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता था, the director of these banks were working towards developing Indian sectors and increasing its profit. कि इंडियन सेक्टर्स का डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है वो ठीक है, बट ऑल्सो एट दैट टाइम दे यूज टू मेक श्योर कि उनका खुद का भी प्रॉफिट हो रहा है. ओके, तो ये चीज़ रोकनी थी बिकॉज वी ओवर हियर आर वर्किंग फॉर द development or changes in our country. So that was stopped. Okay, so the government nationalized the Imperial Bank in 1955 and it got converted into State Bank of India. जो अभी भी हमारे साथ है. This bank opened several branches all over the country in a short while and played a major role in development. A short while में it spread all over the country and still people are using it and it got a great response. Next, background of new nationalization. Why do I feel like it's neutralization? I'm so sorry. Background of nationalization. India has adopted a mixed economy after independence. Okay, कि we know कि independence के बाद हम लोग ने mixed economy plan की. Nationalization of banks was essential to convey the defects if they occurred while implementing different schemes. Okay, so nationalization of bank was very important. Okay, so that उसके ऊपर जब दूसरे सारे schemes यूज़ हो तो इट शुड बी बेनिफिशियल, राइट, कि लोगों को उसका बेनिफिट मिलना चाहिए. सो नेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ बैंक उस टाइम पे बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट था, सो दैट जो डिफरेंट स्कीम्स डेवलप होते हैं उसमें जो लोगों के बीच में झगड़ा या कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स होते हैं वो ना हो, इसके लिए nationalization was important. Also, the profits of this bank next would come into the government treasury once they were nationalized. Along with this, the policy of developing small industries and pharmaceutical industries had to be implemented. Okay, कि जो हमारे small industries थे and pharmaceutical industries थे जहाँ से you can get medicines and all of these things, वो सारी चीज़ों को develop करना भी important था. Lal Bahadur Shastri undertook the experiment of the Green Revolution in order to overcome food shortage and drought. During this tenure of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Congress Forum has for Socialist Action, a group in the Congress Party inspired by socialist idea, made a demand for nationalization of commercial bank. Even the Communist Party supported this डिमांड. ओके, कि उस टाइम पे गवर्नमेंट थी कि लाल बहादुर शास्त्री, उन्होंने क्या काम किया था, ही वर्क फॉर ग्रीन प्रोजेक्ट के. ओके, जो फॉर्माइंस की प्रॉब्लम थी वो दूर हो जाए एंड अगर क्रॉप्स एंड ऑल ग्रो हो रहे हैं तो इट वुड बी बेनिफिशियल फॉर पीपल. सो ही वॉज वर्किंग फॉर दैट पर्पस. वेयर इन कांग्रेस पार्टी ने क्या डिमांड किया कि जो सारी बैंक थे वो नेशनलाइज्ड होनी चाहिए. ओके, एंड इनमें उनको कौन सपोर्ट कर रहा था? The Communist Party was also supporting them. 20-point program. Now, what is 20-point program that Prime Minister Indira Gandhi announced the 20-point program on 1st July 1975 and resolved to make efforts towards rapidly becoming a developed nation. The main provisions of the 20-point program were, so this was launched by Indira Gandhi and her main focus was कि हमारा जो इंडिया है वो डेवलप कंट्री कैसे बने, वो सारे पॉइंट्स 20-point प्रोग्राम में मेंशन किए गए थे. द फर्स्ट वन वाज लैंड सीलिंग for cities and agriculture land, equal divisions of wealth, minimum wages for worker, increase in water conservation schemes. Okay, ये जो सारे water conservation schemes थी, employment था, वो जो wealth है, जो उनकी salaries distribute होती है, that all should be evenly. Workers' participation in industry, national training scheme, free bonded nation, that workers should participation in all of these sectors as well. Prevention of tax evasion, economic crimes and smuggling. के जो crimes है, smuggling है, वो सबको हम लोग रोके. जो tax system है, that all should be stopped. Regulation of prices of basic necessities, improvement in the public distribution system. Okay, कि जो बेसिक नेसेसिटीज़ है उनका प्राइस नॉर्मल रहे एंड एट द सेम टाइम जो पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सिस्टम है उनमें इम्प्रूवमेंट्स आए. इम्प्रूवमेंट इन द टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री बाय डेवलपिंग हैंडलूम सेक्टर, waiving loans for weaker sections, housing, communication facilities, making education equipment available to school. And the fifth point was the textile industries. जो हमारे इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज़ है, वूवन है, सिल्क, कॉटन, सबका इंडस्ट्रीज अच्छे से चलना चाहिए. And even there should be loan facilities for people who are working or who are staying in rural areas so that it could be beneficial for them as well, and proper education should be provided. Issues of worker. The first textile mill was started in Mumbai on 11 July 1851 by Kavasi David. Eventually, mills started in Dadar, Parel, Bhaikalla, Shivdi, Prabhadevi, and Worli. This part came to be known as Girgaon or town of mills. Okay, तो initially ये places में mills या industries start हो गए थे in the 1980s, and this place was known as Girgaon. Okay, and towns of hills as well, mills as well. In the 1980s, the increasing unrest among workers was due to the economic condition in other sectors. In some industries, the wages of the worker were increasing. They were also giving more amount as bonus. They were getting more facilities than the टेक्सटाइल मिल इंडस्ट्रीज़. अभी टेक्सटाइल हमारी खुद की कंट्री का प्रोडक्शन है. बाकी के कंट्रीज़ में क्या हो रहा था दैट इवन द पीपल दे वर गिविंग एक्स्ट्रा मनी ऑन द नेम ऑफ बोनस, एंड यहाँ पे तो इनको नॉर्मल सैलरी का ही प्रॉब्लम था. So all of these problems were being faced by workers, and they were, there was discontent in them. In the Diwali of 1981, the workers expected to get a bonus of 20%. The Rashtriya Mill Mazdoor Sangh, which was negotiating with the employers, agreed up to 8 to 17% bonus without taking the workers into confidence. The cut in the bonus provided to be the cause of unrest. Okay, तो दिवाली का टाइम था, तो एम्प्लॉयर्स जो थे वो दे वर एक्सपेक्टिंग अ बोनस कि एटलीस्ट बोनस मिल जाए हम लोग को. तो जो राष्ट्रीय मिल मजदूर संघ था ना, उन्होंने क्या किया, उनके ये जो डिमांड था ना बोनस का, उसको इग्नोर किया एंड क्या किया, नेगोशिएटिंग विद द एम्प्लॉयर्स agreed up to 8 to 17% bonus without taking the workers into confidence. Okay, the cut in the bonus proved to be the cause of unrest. उन लोग ने कितना परसेंट एक्सपेक्ट किया था, एम्प्लॉयर्स दे एटलीस्ट एक्सपेक्टेड अ बोनस ऑफ 20%, बट दे प्रोवाइडेड अप टू 8 to 17%. ओके, सो दे अभी जिसको 8% मिला रहेगा वो तो बेचारा 20% सोच रहा था, बराबर, और उसको मिला 8%. सो द कट इन द बोनस कि ये जो अमाउंट कट किया ना, परसेंट कट किया ना, दैट लेड टू अनरेस्ट अमॉन्ग द पीपल, दैट पीपल वर एंग्री बिकॉज ऑफ दिस. बाकी सारे इंडस्ट्रीज़ में मिल रहा था लोगों को बोनस, एंड उनको ही नहीं मिलेगा तो गुस्सा तो आएगा ही ना लोगों को. Some workers went to Dr. Datta Samant. They asked him to accept the leadership. Workers of 65 mills came together and Dr. Datta Samant led the strike. On 18 Jan 1982, 2.5 lakh workers went on a strike. कि अभी क्या हो गया, people were angry and they thought कि जो Dr. Samant है, he could be the best person to help us. एक आंदोलन या जो भी करना है अगेंस्ट ब्रिटिशर्स, उसको हेल्प करने के लिए दे कैन हेल्प अस. ओके, एंड दे थॉट कि वी विल टेल देम टू बी आर लीडर, एंड ही गॉट रेडी. ओके, डॉक्टर दत्ता समंत ही गॉट रेडी. सो देयर वर वर्कर्स फॉर 65 मिल्स. ओके, 65 मिल्स से वर्कर्स आ गए थे. एंड ऑन 18th of January 1982, 2.5 lakh workers went on strike. Just look at the numbers, student. Girgaon mills stopped running, making it seem like Mumbai's heart stopped throbbing. Okay, कि completely गिरगांव के जो मिल्स थे वो स्टॉप थे. It wasn't working because the workers were on strike, and for a while it thought that Mumbai's heart stopped थ्रोबिंग. ओके, कि इतना फ़र्क पड़ रहा था बिकॉज इंडस्ट्रीज चलेगी नहीं तो फिर पैसा कहाँ से आएगा, राइट, प्रोडक्शन कहाँ से होगा. सो इट फेल्ट लाइक एवरीथिंग वाज स्टॉप. नेक्स्ट, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Barrister A.R. Antulai, sent up a committee to solve this issue. Later, Baba Saheb Bhosle became the Chief Minister of Maharashtra state. He insisted that as per the law, he would talk only with the Rashtriya Mill Mazdoor Sangh. Dr. Datta Samantik demanded that the law be revoked. Okay, तो अभी क्या प्लान हुआ स्टूडेंट्स, दैट chief minister there, he decided that he would solve this problem, but later on he was changed and Baba Sahib Bhosle became the leader, and he said that I won't be talking to you all, I would be talking to the leaders. And जो डॉक्टर ये थे, लीडर थे उनके, दत्ता समन, he demanded the law to be revoked. In the beginning, the striking workers received help from the native villagers. Okay, so the workers, they got help from villages. It was also not very difficult for them to help each other. They set up a departmental committees and distributed food, grains, assistance in the form of funds, etc. The left parties had supported the strike. Okay, so the villagers were very helpful to all of these workers. The food department and everything was distributed. The funds थे वो भी सारे distribute कर दिए गए थे. The left parties had supported the strike. As the strike dragged on, efforts were made to spill the striking workers' rank. Even as the strike completed 6 months, the central government completely ignored it. Okay, 6 months तक वो strike चली, 6 months तक industries बंद थे. Still, the government did not, look after that. The workers started a jail borough agitation in September 1982. 1.5 lakh workers took up a march on the Legislative Assembly of Maharashtra state. It didn't help at all. जैसे हम students petition sign करते, even they signed up jail borough आंदोलन, फिर they went up to a march, but all of these didn't work. The strike completed a year. This was the first strike to have gone for a year. In this period, about 1.5 lakh workers became unemployed because सब लोग strike पे थे and even government wasn't taking any active. And this was one particular strike which went for like almost a year. But then government कोई काम कर नहीं रहा था, तो again there was unemployment क्योंकि लोग जा नहीं रहे थे काम पे, तो उनका काम रुका पड़ा था. As polyester had come into greater demand than cotton cloth, the sale of meal cloth has already gone affected. The mills moved from Mumbai to Surat in Gujarat. The central government nationalized 13 textile mills. Appointments of arbitraries did not help to resolve the issues. Now, परत देखो वापस क्या हो गया, that polyester cloth का demand था, and हमारे जो Indians थे वो क्या बनाते थे, we used to make cotton clothes. तो वापस हमारा demand एक तो कम हो गया, and plus polyester का demand बढ़ रहा था, तो industries change हो रहे थे. And that is why the people were not getting that much amount of support from normal people. जो workers थे उनको normal लोगों से इतना help मिल नहीं रहा था. New economic policy. The year of 1991 is very important in the history of modern India. After the 10th general election, P.V. Naramsinha Rao became the Prime Minister of India. Okay, so P.V. Naramsinha Rao was the next Prime Minister. Dr. Manmohan Singh as Finance Minister, he adopted the new economic policy of linking India's economy with global economy. And again, the next Finance Minister was Dr. Manmohan Singh, and he linked our policy with national policy. For this, fundamental changes were brought about in Indian economy. Indian economy was brought in tune with global mainstream. Globally, there were connections between Hamara economic. During this period, Indian economy was a crisis situation. Before the P.V. Naramsinha Rao government took charge, Chandrasekhar was the Prime Minister. During his tenure, the rate of inflation was 17%. Okay, कि उनके पहले कौन थे, चंद्रशेखर थे ना, वो प्रेसिडेंट थे, और उनका जो टेन्योर था, उनका जो पीरियड था, उसमें जो रेट ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन था ना स्टूडेंट्स, वो 17% था. और अभी इनके केस में क्या है हम लोग देखेंगे. इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ रेट हैड गॉन डाउन बाय 1.1%. इंडिया हैड फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स ओनली इनफ टू लास्ट फॉर imports for a week. It had become difficult to pay back its loan and even give the interest on it. बट अगेन हमारा जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट था वो वापस गिर गया था, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ गिर गया था, एंड अगेन वी वर फेसिंग प्रॉब्लम्स। हम लोग को पैसे पे करना, लोन पे करना डिफ़िकल्ट जा रहा था। इन May 1991 द गवर्नमेंट हैड ट्राइड टू कंट्रोल द सिचुएशन बाय सेलिंग सम ऑफ इट्स गोल्ड रिजर्व एंड बाय mortgaging some. Before the Chandrasekhar government, the VP Singh government incurred a liability of over 10,000 crore rupees on the economy by waiving off the loans of farmers. The proportion of internal loans of central and state government together took the gross domestic product was 55%. Okay, कि सब लॉस ही हो रहा था हम लोग को. We had like a 10,000 crore rupees like government के पास जो था, that was again given to fulfill the loans of farmers, and then state government together gross domestic product was 55%. In 1980 to 81 foreign loans was 2350 crore dollars. It increased to 8380 crore dollars in 91. At this time India had foreign exchange reserves of only 100 crore dollars. This also had the background of increased oil prices due to invasion of Kuwait by Iraq. It became difficult for India to raise a loan. Even the non-residential Indians started withdrawing the deposit in foreign currency from India. Okay, कि इंडिया का एक पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट होता है कि आप यही पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट में फॉरेन एक्सचेंज बाकी सारे कंट्रीज़ के साथ कर सकते हो, बट वो भी बिगड़ता जा रहा था. एंड इंडिया हैड टू आस्क फॉर अ लोन, बट किससे मांगेंगे, बिकॉज वी ऑलरेडी वर इनटू लोन्स, सो मेनी लोन्स. एंड प्लस जो नॉन रेसिडेंट्स थे इंडिया में, even they were removing their money from bank and deposit it to foreign currency. Remedies, now what were the remedies? ये सारे प्रॉब्लम थे, पर इनके सॉल्यूशंस क्या थे? PV Naram Singh Rao appointed Dr. Manmohan Singh as finance minister in order to find a way out of this situation. He undertook many corrective measures. The situation began to change, but then मनमोहन सिंह आए, वो फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर थे. उन्होंने बहुत सारे ऐसे चेंजेस लाए because of which there were a productive change. Now let us see what were the changes. He removed the restrictions on foreign investment. He restricted the license system to 18 industries. In view of increasing losses in public sector industries, he opened up the public sector for investing by private industries. In order to bring the share market under control, he established the Securities and Exchange Board of Indians (SEBI) in 1992. National Stock Exchange was computerized. He gave priority to remove the spectrum of recession. तभी इन्होंने क्या किया कि जो restricted part था कि हम लोग इतने ही कंट्रीज़ के साथ ये कर सकते हैं, ट्रेड कर सकते हैं, या इतने ही इंडस्ट्रीज़ हो सकते, वो उन्होंने पूरा चेंज कर दिया. देन ही डिसाइडेड कि जो सारे लॉसेस है वो हम लोग रिकवर करेंगे. तो ही गिव्ड ऑप्शंस कि किसी को इन्वेस्ट करना है, प्राइवेट इंडस्ट्री हो या पब्लिक इंडस्ट्री, दे कैन डू दैट ऑल्सो. टू ब्रिंग शेयर मार्केट अप ही ब्रॉट सर्टेन चेंजेस. ओके, उन्होंने प्रायोरिटी दी रिसेशन को. जो हमारा ये सारा प्रॉब्लम है वो फटाक से ठीक होना चाहिए. Foreign investment in India grew during the first tenure of Dr. Manmohan Singh as finance minister. India could recover the gold mortgage with the Bank of England. The government got the support of the capitalist class as well as the middle class. Okay, that once Manmohan Singh came, there were many changes and thoda profit types ho raha tha. That okay, the main changes and the situation which was worse was now getting better. As the government opened up the telecom sector, mobile phone services started all over the country. He signed the agreement with the World Trade Organization and launched the policy of privatization, liberalization and globalization. के against mobile phones भी सब जगह start हो गए थे, and there was communication all over. Okay, and then he launched policies like privatization, liberalization and globalization. World Trade Organization. In 1995, India became a member of World Trade Organization. Okay, तो वर्ल्ड के सारी कंट्रीज़ अपने अपने में ट्रेड करते हैं, उनका मेंबर बन गया था इंडिया. India, the organization had the following objectives: to free trade between countries, okay, to put on an end of all those discriminative laws, restrictions, rules, and policy that are hurdles in the way of international free trade, and to regulate global trade with the help of a formal multi-party mechanism. Okay, ये जो countries के बीच में trade होगा, that should be free, okay, and there should be no discrimination on any basis, and people should make sure कि trading अपना कैसे आगे हो रहा है, अच्छे तरीके से हो रहा है, यही अपना motive होना चाहिए. That was the aim of World Trade Organization. GATT, that is General Agreement of Tariffs and Trade, existed in the international level before the World Trade Organization came into being. It regulated commerce. In India, they were opposed extreme views about the World Trade Organization. Yet, India decided to take its membership. Now, there were many people, जिनको ये सारी चीज़ें है ना satisfying या convincing नहीं लगी, but still India was a member of trade organization. The provisions of World Trade Organization are regarded grants, import, export, foreign investment, agriculture, technology and services, okay, that it work on all of these पॉइंट्स, जैसे एग्रीकल्चर हो गया, टेक्नोलॉजी हो गया, ये सारी चीज़ों पे वो ग्रांट्स या परमिशंस देते थे. द सेक्टर्स ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, वाटर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, एजुकेशन एंड हेल्थ रैपिडली commercialized since India became a member of World Trade Organization. That once we became the member of this organization, there were changes in various fields, and be it education, electricity support, water transport, etc. As per the various reports of World Trade Organization, India had made a considerable improvement in different areas like reduction in the below poverty line, PPL population, decline in infant mortality, availability of facilities regarding drinking water and wastewater management. तो एक रिपोर्ट होता है वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का, एंड उनके हिसाब से इंडिया इज़ डूइंग वेरी वेल इन ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. लाइक जो पोवर्टी लेवल था उसको हम लोग ने मेंटेन किया, डिक्लाइन इन इन्फेंट मोर्टेलिटी, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ फैसिलिटीज़ एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. India signed the South Asian Preferential Trade Agreement along the lines of World Trade Organization. India removed the import restrictions on cereal commodities for SAARC countries. India also gave discounts on import duties. India opened up the insurance sector to private and foreign countries. कि now trading के मामले में the laws and all were being strict, okay, so that वापस ऐसा सिचुएशन हमारे ऊपर कभी ना आए. ओके, जो हम इंपोर्ट करते थे प्रोडक्ट्स उसमें हम लोग अच्छा खासा डिस्काउंट देते थे. फिर पीपल वे ओपन टू इन्वेस्ट एंड बी इट प्राइवेट सेक्टर, पब्लिक सेक्टर, एक्सेट्रा. In this way, we have learned about the journey of India's economy. We have come a long way from mixed economy to globalization. In the next chapter, we are going to study India's progress in other fields. Okay, so today we get to know what is India's policy and कैसे कैसे plans बनाए गए थे, कैसे कैसे उनको implement किया. Okay, so yeah students, that was it for today's session. Now the exercise part would be a homework. The questions in the exercise part is something which would be a homework. So yeah guys, that was it for today's session. We'll see you all in the next. Till then, bye bye and take care. Bye.